When the world finally slows and the noise of the day dissolves into silence, a strange kind of truth begins to speak. It's in the stillness of the night, when there's no one to impress, no task to finish, that the mind reveals its real face. The Stoics saw night not as a pause from life, but as a teacher. Marcus Aurelius would often write to himself before sleep, not to share wisdom, but to search for it. Seneca believed that the final thoughts before rest could shape the soul more than any lecture or book. Night, for the Stoic, was not darkness. It was purification. Because when the body rests, the mind continues its dialogue. What we choose to think in those quiet hours determines the tone of our waking life. Each night becomes a mirror reflecting the day just lived and an invitation to rise wiser than before. This is where transformation begins, not through force, but through stillness. Not by trying to conquer life, but by observing it calmly before surrendering to sleep. The evening reflection, audit of the soul. Before surrendering to the night, Seneca practiced what he called self-audit, a nightly examination of his thoughts, words, and actions. He wrote, "When the light has been taken away and my wife has fallen silent, I examine my entire day and go back over what I've done and said. It wasn't about guilt or judgment, it was about awareness." Seneca would ask himself 3 simple but powerful questions. What did I do well today? What did I do poorly? What could I do better tomorrow? This reflection is not a report card. It's a mirror for the soul. As you lie in bed with the lights dimmed and the air quiet, review the day like a philosopher, not a critic. Remember the moments when you showed patience, kindness, or courage. Then, acknowledge the ones when you didn't. The goal isn't to punish yourself. The goal is to understand yourself. Because the mind, like a garden, grows what is inspected. When you reflect honestly, the unnecessary weeds of anger, envy, and pride start to wither away. You begin to see your behavior not as random, but as a reflection of your inner world. The Stoics believed that the day is not truly finished until it has been examined. So before you drift into sleep, close your eyes and whisper to your soul, "What lesson did today bring me?" Let go of the need to be perfect and focus on being aware. This habit, simple but sacred, transforms the weight of regret into the lightness of clarity. And as you fall asleep, you're not escaping the day, you're redeeming it. The detachment ritual, letting go of control before sleep. As the night deepens, one truth becomes impossible to ignore: how little control we actually have. The Stoics understood this better than anyone. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength before sleep." They practiced detachment, a quiet ritual of release. Not escape from life, but surrender to what cannot be controlled. Lie in bed and mentally list everything that's weighing on you: the unfinished tasks, the people you couldn't please, the outcomes that didn't unfold as you hoped, and then one by one release them. Remind yourself, these things do not belong to me. Only my thoughts and actions do. The Stoics saw this as mental hygiene, cleansing the soul of attachment before entering rest. Because when you cling to what's beyond your control, you drag chaos into your dreams. But when you let go, you sleep like a sage, free from the restless storms of expectation. Sleep, for the Stoic, was not a retreat from responsibility. It was an act of wisdom, the courage to trust the universe to run itself while you rest. Let your final thought be surrender, not struggle, for peace begins where control ends. Gratitude before rest, rewiring the mind for calm. After releasing what you cannot control, there is one more step before the soul can rest: gratitude. The Stoics didn't see gratitude as blind optimism, but as a weapon of wisdom. Epictetus said, "He is a wise man who does not grieve for the things he has not, but rejoices for those which he has." Even in hardship, the Stoics practiced thankfulness Because gratitude reframes suffering into strength. It shifts the mind from scarcity to serenity. Before you sleep, think of 3 things from the day that deserve your quiet thanks. They don't need to be grand. Maybe it was a small act of kindness, a moment of laughter, a few minutes of peace. Let your mind rest on these blessings and notice how your body softens, how your breath slows. Gratitude rewires the subconscious mind overnight. It teaches your soul that life, even in its imperfection, is enough. And when you train your mind to end each day with appreciation, you no longer wake up chasing happiness. You wake up recognizing it. The Stoics believed that happiness is not found in getting more, but in seeing more clearly. So tonight, see your life as it truly is. Imperfect, unpredictable, but still profoundly all good. As you drift into sleep, whisper softly, "Thank you, life, for another day to learn." And with that gentle awareness, the heart grows lighter and the night becomes peaceful. Visualization of tomorrow, preparing the mind, not the world. As the night settles into stillness, the Stoics would begin a quiet rehearsal, not for perfection, but for peace. Seneca advised his students to imagine the challenges that might await them the next day: insults, delays, loss, frustration. Marcus Aurelius did the same each morning, but the preparation began the night before. In imagination, not anxiety. Before you sleep, visualize tomorrow, not with fear, but with calm anticipation. See yourself walking through the storms with composure, responding to conflict with patience, and meeting difficulty with dignity. The Stoics called this premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of misfortune. But it was never pessimism, it was protection. When you visualize challenges before they appear, you disarm them. They lose their surprise, their sting, their power over you. The mind becomes steady like a warrior who has already fought the battle in silence. As you lie there, imagine a version of yourself who acts with wisdom, who stays centered no matter what happens. Let that image sink deep into your subconscious, because what you rehearse in the mind becomes instinct in the moment. Don't prepare the world for your peace. Prepare your mind for the world. Then, as sleep embraces you, let your heart whisper, "Tomorrow I will meet life as it comes, not as I fear it." Acceptance of mortality, the evening memento mori, and finally, as darkness surrounds you, the Stoics invite you to face the one truth most people run from: mortality. Each night is a small rehearsal for death, and each morning a quiet resurrection. Seneca wrote, "Let us prepare our minds as if we'd come to the end of life." Let us postpone nothing. This isn't meant to be morbid, it's liberating. To remember that you may not wake tomorrow is to awaken to life tonight. When you acknowledge that the day you just lived will never return, every moment of it becomes sacred. Before sleep, think gently of the fragility of existence, not with fear, but with gratitude for another sunset, another breath, another chance to love and to learn. Death, for the Stoic, is not the enemy. It's the reminder that time is the only currency that truly matters. When you accept that your days are finite, you stop wasting them on anger and regret. The noise of the world quiets, and what remains is presence. Simple, profound, eternal. So as you rest your head on the pillow, tell yourself, "If this were my last night, I would sleep in peace." Let that thought wash over you, not as darkness, but as clarity. Because the moment you accept mortality, you begin to live with depth. And when you finally drift into sleep, it no longer feels like an ending. It feels like returning home. Aligning with nature, returning to universal order. As the night deepens into silence and the world fades beneath a sky full of stars, the Stoics would turn their gaze upward. For them, the night sky wasn't just beautiful. It was a reminder of order, of balance, of belonging. Marcus Aurelius often wrote about aligning oneself with nature, living not against the flow of the universe, but in rhythm with it. He said, "Adapt yourself to the life you have been given, and truly love the people with whom destiny has surrounded you." When you look at the stars before sleep, remember, you are part of something vast, ancient, and alive. The same order that guides the planets guides your path. The same silence that moves the moon moves through your breath, all your struggles, your desires, your fears. They're not separate from nature, they are expressions of it. To resist them is to resist the universe itself, but to accept them, to trust that even chaos has a pattern, is to find serenity in the storm. So as you close your eyes, imagine yourself dissolving into the rhythm of nature, the ocean's tide, the wind's slow hum, the turning of the earth beneath you. Let go of your need to control or to know. Just exist, as everything else does, in quiet harmony. Sleep becomes sacred when you no longer fight the flow of life. In that surrender, peace returns. The silent transformation. And so the night completes its work. The Stoics saw sleep not as escape, but as transformation, a secret classroom where the mind rewires itself in silence. Through reflection, you've understood your day. Through detachment, you've released what you cannot hold. Through gratitude, you've softened the heart. Through visualization, you've prepared the mind. Through mortality, you've awakened to life. And through alignment with nature, you've remembered who you truly are, a part of something infinite. The world may see sleep as idleness, but the Stoics knew peace is the highest form of action, because when you rest with wisdom, you rise with strength. As your breath slows and your mind drifts toward dreams, whisper softly to yourself, I am calm. I am present. I am in harmony with all that is. The night has done its work. Now let the silence finish what wisdom began. If this message spoke to something deep within you, if these Stoic lessons reminded you that peace isn't found in noise, but in understanding, then don't let it fade when the screen goes dark. Carry this calm into tomorrow. Practice one of these habits tonight, even for a minute. Let reflection replace regret. Let gratitude outshine fear. And if you wish to walk further on this path, to keep learning from Marcus, Seneca, and Epictetus, then join this space where ancient wisdom meets modern life. Subscribe, not for content, but for clarity. For reminders that stillness is strength and that wisdom is a practice, not a destination. Every night, the Stoics met themselves in silence. Now it's your turn. Let this be the start of your own silent transformation.